Hey everybody! I have a cold, but I'm still here. Hello! Welcome to not D and Dorks. This is usually when we do D and Dorks, and I'm just now realizing I didn't change my announcements thing. Again, I have a cold, so forgive me for forgetting some stuff. I might change that. All that stuff is still true, so I'll probably just leave it up. Anyway, hello! I gotta set up a couple things while I'm talking here, but let me go over a couple announcements because, again, this is sort of an unconventional day. And then we'll get into the content pretty fast. How's everybody doing? Can I see my chat? I can see my chat. Sweet. Also, I've said this every time this week, but, like, check out the new overlay, guys. Look at the new overlay. It's so nice. It's very simple, but it's very nice. I'm very proud of it, and since I'm sure there's new people, I'm going to show it off again. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that seamless transition from my actual screen to my camera. Isn't that cool? And then I'm going to do like a fake subscription here. Check this out. When someone subscribes or follows, it slides into the box and then it just slides out seamlessly. I'm so proud of this. It makes me look so much more professional and I love it. Anyway, let's see. Oh, Amy, actually, hold on. I was going to ask Amy if she could do the announcement for the D and Dorks server too. But I don't know if she actually can. So I'm just going to do the same bit. I'm just going to paste that in the D and Dorks server as well. Anyway, speaking of D and Dorks, let me explain what's happening today. And then I'm going to set up a quick concurrent TikTok live and we will actually get into the content. So, first off, today, as you can probably guess, is not D and Dorks. We are in D and Dorks off week right now. The Symmetry Saga ended 2 weeks ago. We did our Marvel Multiverse RPG one-shot last week. And then Panda Red's mini-series, the 8-episode mini-series, Outlaws of the Seven, is starting next week. But I had nothing to do today. And I figured, hey, I can maybe get some more views in if I just do a stream at the same time. Now it is, as you can guess by the title, an RPG-related stream. I am going to be doing an in-depth DM analysis of the Power Rangers role-playing game. Now, this is something I did on Monday, actually. I did an in-depth analysis of the Marvel Multiverse RPG in the same style as what I'm going to be doing. That is on my YouTube. We do have a YouTube for VODs now. I'm sure someone can put that link in the chat. You can watch that there. And since I had nothing else to do and wanted to do something RPG related, we're going to be doing this. I have gotten a PDF of it. I also do have the physical copy for this, so I can reference two things. I also do have the expansion. I don't have a PDF of the expansion. So I might reference some very brief things in this, but we're not going to, spend too much time on that. Let's see. What else do I have to do before we set up here? Again, as I said a second ago, but more people have joined since then. I do have a cold today, so I have enough medication in my system that I'm going to be fine, but forgive me if I'm slightly more scattered than usual because my throat's a little sore and I'm a little off. So, things are going to be a little scattered. But will you be playing the Power Rangers RPG? At some point, I would very much like to. Not today. Today, we're just going to do an analysis because why not? Like I said, I had nothing else to do. So, so we're doing this. That is literally the only motivation. I'm so frustrated that I'm mildly sick today of all days, guys, because I was like, this is the week where I was thinking, yeah, I'm going to try to be a more professional streamer. I set up this whole interface for myself. I've been posting TikToks regularly, and then 3 days into my new motivation, I immediately got sick. So, I'm here, that's what matters, huh? Okay, let's see. I wish this RPG wasn't so color-focused and the classes weren't tied to personality traits. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that. It's not a huge criticism. It's a funny little nuance of this system that I'm going to be discussing very briefly. Alright, 1 second. I'm setting up my concurrent TikTok live here, and then we'll jump right in. I feel like I'm... Oh, right! I was about to say, I feel like I'm forgetting something. The preview. The preview for Outlaws of the Seven that I promised. Duh. I should know. When I do this, oh, I forgot about the preview. That's not me doing a bit. I legitimately forgot that I promised everybody an Outlaws of the Seven preview until right now. Oh, Jess is here? What's up, Jess? Yes, there is a Power Rangers RPG, and I'm going to be talking about it. Macromosa, thank you for the sub. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set up this TikTok live, and then I'm going to show you the preview for Outlaws of the Seven. I'm gonna do it in that order so that nobody leaves in the 30 seconds while I'm setting this up. I gotta give you something to grab your attention so that no one skips out on me while I'm doing my setup. That's called marketing. Is that fine? That's fine. All right. Hold on. Talking Power Rangers RPG. And go live. There we go. Okay. So, Outlaws of the Seven thing. Let me do that first. Sorry if this is too personal. Does your diabetes make you immunocompromised? That is not too personal. That's a valid question. And yes, diabetes is an autoimmune disorder. So it does make me immunocompromised. I'm going to throw to my big camera really quick because I have to bring up a text from Panda and I don't want it to accidentally come up on the screen and me dox his phone number. So I'm going to throw to my big camera while I grab this really quick. There we go. Got to save this. I'm going to be showing you my character art for Outlaws of the Seven. I have character art for everybody. I'm only showing you mine. Let's see. How do I want to save this? I have this in a text form from Panda, and I'm not going to lie. I forgot to save it. I forgot to save it before the... There we go. Okay. So, we have decided for Outlaws of the Seven that we are going to be doing wanted posters. Well, I say we. Panda. Panda is doing the art for this campaign. We have character art for everybody, and we are doing wanted posters as the character art, which is fantastic. And this is the Power Rangers cover, because I haven't put it on the screen yet. But my character art, my official character art for Outlaws of the Seven is... Kabam. I'll make it a little bigger for you guys. I am playing King Otario the Risen. He is a Leonin, and he's terrifying looking. He is wanted for the crimes of, as is actually a little bit hard to see on the screen, piracy, murder, fraud, looting, kidnapping, money laundering, skeeviness, bad acting, and tax evasion. He has a bounty of $3 million. I'm not going to tell you anything about his character yet, but I will tell you one thing, and that is Otaria hates this drawing of him. Otaria thinks this drawing of him makes him look like just some terrifying, murderous monster. That's not what Otaria is about. This is not representative of Otaria as a person, and he hates it for that. Why does he hate it? You're going to have to show up next week. You're going to have to show up next week to get any more information on Outlaws of the Seven. But yeah, there you go. Outlaws of the Seven preview, as promised. What is with y'all and evil cat people? Hey, it's a pattern, I guess, huh? It's a pattern, I guess. That looks so cool but scary. It's good, man. I love Panda's art style for this. I'll bring it up again because I'm still talking about it. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be so much fun. I'm very excited to be a player again. I've said before that Otaria is one of the characters that I think is going to be one of my favorites I've ever played. It's going to be awesome. And you're not getting any more information. I'm going to shut up. You guys get to learn more about this guy next week. Now let's talk about some Power Rangers, shall we? Someone asked, is this Matt's character? This is Matt's character. Also, I guess I should say, if you somehow showed up to this stream today of all days and don't know what I'm talking about, usually at this time slot on this channel, we have a Dungeons & Dragons show called D and Dorks, featuring a bunch of people that you would know on TikTok. We just finished like a year and a half long... Why am I showing you a Power Rangers? I'm talking for a second. Let me go to my big camera. We just finished up like a year and a half long campaign of this that was DM'd by me 2 weeks ago. The entirety of that campaign, plus some other one-shots and other mini-series, lots of fun stuff is available on YouTube. But starting at this time, next week, we are starting an entirely new series, unconnected to anything else, so it's a great jumping on point. It's called Outlaws of the Seven. You just saw my character art for it. I'm giving you no other information other than that it is entirely separate from other stuff, so even if you've never seen another episode, come watch. It's going to be fun. Anyway, back to the actual point of this, though, let's be honest, the point of this is mostly promo for next week anyway. Let's see. Hey Matt, you just said your first character death was a Rocket and Groot type thing, and I just wanted to say they should have been named Sprocket and Root. They were not named Sprocket and Root, but my character in a Pathfinder campaign that I played, who was basically Groot, he was named Tivan. So he was a Guardians of the Galaxy reference. He was named after the Collector. So not a direct thing, but yes, my Groot type character that I played in Pathfinder once was named after a Guardians bit. Anyway, let's start talking about this Power Rangers RPG. This is another professional analysis video. This one's going to be fun because I actually do have the physical book, so like I can compare things on my desk and have things on the screen at once instead of scrolling back and forth a million times. We also have the expansion for this. Now, I do not have a PDF of the expansion, so we're not going to be talking a lot about this right now. But what the Power Rangers RPG is exactly what it sounds like. It is basically D&D, but it's Power Rangers. It is notably not D&D 5e, but it is on another system called, I believe it's Essence 20. It says E20 on the spine. I think it's Essence 20. This is the system of Renegade Game Studios. Importantly, the Essence 20 system is not just for this. It is also for Transformers and G.I. Joe. And I think maybe My Little Pony. I'm not sure if that one runs on the exact same thing or not. But they're all compatible. You can have a Power Rangers and Transformers and G.I. Joe RPG. They all run on the same mechanics. In fact, at Gen Con, literally this weekend, at Gen Con going on right now, there is an official crossover that they're debuting between all three of them. So that's going to be crazy. And again, it's debuting this weekend, so I don't know a lot of details yet. But just to get that out of the way, Transformers, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, and maybe My Little Pony, all compatible. The expansion just came out like a month ago. This expansion is called Across the Stars, and it is basically all these space-themed Power Rangers. So it's In Space, Some Lost Galaxy, SPD, and then some stuff from the comics, like the Omega Rangers are in here. So, we're not going to be talking about this too much, but there we go. Let's get into this right away. Right away, 15 minutes in. So, we're going to be going through much like I did last time, just starting at the front and going, well, starting at the top and going down to the bottom. I, fully admittedly, have not actually played this system. I really want to, and I have read through it, so I know how it works, but I have not played it, so this is going to be a learning experience for me as well as you guys. Is the studio behind this related to Hasbro or the company handling Hasbro's new comic runs? Renegade Games is its own thing. It is not a Hasbro subsidiary to my knowledge, but they do have like repeated partnerships with Hasbro. Like Renegade is where all the Power Ranger games come from. It is where like Transformers games come from, things like that. So it is not officially Hasbro, but it is like a common thing. Now, all of this stuff is basically just the basic like Power Rangers setup. Some of the Power Rangers world. You can go to my second channel if you want to learn more about that. We are going to start off with a character creation, right? See, this book's laid out normally. This book, unlike the Marvel Multiverse RPG book, is laid out normally and has character creation first instead of combat first for some godforsaken reason. Now, we're going to start off with one of the weirdest things that I have in this system. It's actually not first, but I just want to talk about it immediately. One thing that's very strange in this system, and I have fewer criticisms of this than I did of Marvel. Scroll down a little bit farther. The classes are colors. So your stats are going to be determined by your Ranger color. The first, this one has these. Yeah, it has red, blue, black. It has all of the core 7, because it does have green and white as distinct. And then the expansion adds... I don't remember what the expansion... I think Silver, Gold, and Phantom Ranger? Yes, Silver, Gold, and Phantom Ranger. If I was running this system, I would just ignore that. Just say you can pick whatever class you want and not have it be tied to your color. That's, I don't know why they... I guess I get why they did it, but, like, if anyone wants to play this game, just make whatever color you want. Pick a class and then just say you're whatever color. No purple, not purple yet. They are making more expansions. Like that Across the Stars expansion, it came out like last month. This book came out February of last year. It's a fairly new system. So I'm sure there are others that are going to be coming. And I guess, again, if you want to play purple, like just play purple. You don't have to have the color. There's no real mechanical reason why you have to have the character or the color that you need. What color is Phantom? Phantom is its own thing. It's weird. It's fun, but it's a very weird class that like is tied heavily into the system. So I'm not gonna. to answer the question now, because I'm not going to be talking about it in detail later, the big thing with Phantom is you have your own spaceship, and you can do cool things with your own spaceship. And yes, vehicles and Zords are a big part of this. Now, I'm actually going to pull up a character sheet for this right now, because the best way to take you through character creation is to do character creation myself. Again, if I was smart, I would just do this beforehand, but I'm sick, so I have an excuse to not. Hold on. I don't care. I don't want to. PDF, fillable character sheet. Why is it like... Oh, did we find it? There we go. Found it. Okay. Let me download this so that I can pull it up on the screen easier for you. And I'll go ahead and show you guys. I guess we'll start with this, actually. We'll start with the character sheet so I can explain a little bit about how the system works in general. This, that's fine. Place that. Nope, I want you to open it in the system viewer, please. There we go. Okay. This is what the character sheets look like. Well, it's squished, but that's because I have it zoomed in. That's not at all what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay, so this system does not have 6 core stats. This system is not like the Marvel Multiverse RPG, in which case it's just the 6 core 5e stats, but different. This one has strength, speed, smarts, and social. 4 S's. That's fine. I think that's okay. This one does also have skills within it, like 5e. Many of them are the same. We have persuasion, we have performance, we have athletics and acrobatics, all of those. It's just divided into 4 categories instead of 6. There are a few that are different. For example, driving is a skill in this because there's Zords and vehicles and things. So that's something that you do get to see a lot of. But we're going to be talking more about this as we go and fill out the character sheet. But that's just the core of the system. Just got here. When you say 7 CST, do you mean for you or D&Dorks? You're right. I should be more specific when I say this. Sorry for not pointing this out earlier. My streams, my personal streams, are going to be moving up an hour starting next week to 7 CST. D&Dorks is not affected. D&Dorks is still 6 Central Time. These are just for my personal streams on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I'm testing out a new schedule because I think that'll bring in more people. Anyway, let's talk about how you make a character with this. So, first thing that you need to pick is your origin. This, funny enough, is exactly like the Marvel Multiverse RPG. I believe they also call it origin. This is essentially, it is the replacement for race in this. You can play an alien if you would like to in the Power Rangers universe, but it's not a specific thing like in a fantasy system. Now, the origins are a little bit, they're not all origins, they're more just traits. Like, for example, athletic is an origin. Brainy is an origin. They're stat things. Comedic is an origin. Curious, kind, cynical, oddball, popular, rebellious, and tragic. If you want a tragic backstory, that's built into the system. And I believe there are some more in the expansion, but I don't know them all off the top of my head. So rather than origin, it's more like a core character trait, but functionally they work a lot like races. So you have your starting health comes from this. Your strength or speed, a stat boost, just like you would have with a race. Your, strength-based skills, speed-based skills, movement. These are a lot of your core stats. Your core stats are going to come from your origin, and then your specific abilities are going to come from your class. So now we have to decide, what do we want to build? We're going to be building this, well, I say we, I'm going to be building this, and I'll look for input from chat as I do so. What do we want to build? Since this is the D&Dorks sort of filler episode, this is not an episode of D&Dorks. Since this is me trying to capitalize on the audience of D&Dorks shamelessly, I feel like we should build something D&Dorks related. Do we want to build one of the Rangers? One of the Rangers of Power? Which Ranger of Power do we want? Not a player character. Not a player character because I don't know their stats off the top of my head. Who do build? Who do build? I'm seeing one for Charlie. I'm seeing one for Flash. I'm literally just gonna wait and see what people. I could do an official poll for this, but I don't care. Ranger Glib. Do we want Ranger Glib? We can do Charlie. I'm seeing The only non-player one was Charlie. Okay, to be fair, I did mean, I guess, like, non-core cast. Non-core... Okay, I'm seeing a lot for Charlie, but that's also just Zapdos saying it a lot. Which is understandable. Lady Katarina, Specs, Zapdos keeps... Okay, screw it. We are doing a poll. We are doing a poll. Give me a second to set that up. Ugh, boy. I need to go get more water. Get the poll. Who build? I saw some for Charlie. I saw some for Flash. I saw some for Specs. Those are going to be the 3. We don't need this to be 2 minutes long. Bam. Poll's already up for you guys because stream delay. Now I stole for a minute. And we'll see. We could build Lady Katarina because Jess is here. That is also an alternative. I forgot Jess is here right now. So we could actually, dang it, do I have to, hold on. I have to end the poll. I have to end the poll. We're going to do a new one because I forgot Jess is here right now. So let me add Lady Katarina, Ranger Lady Katarina. If you don't know who this is, if you're new, these are characters from the last year's D&D campaign. I did a bunch of Power Rangers references in it. So, you know, that's what we're building. There we go. Oh, Josie's here too? Hello to Josie. I didn't know Josie was here. Anyway, Lady Katarina has been added to the list because Jess, who was the player for a character named Lady Katarina, is here at the moment. And Lady Katarina has immediately won. I don't even need to let that finish. Name. Lady Katarina. What the heck? Name. That was weird. Okay, whatever. Lady Katarina. Oh, there's a spot for pronouns on here. Huh. She's her. Origin. Origin's a thing. So, we need to pick origin for Lady Katarina. Athletic, brainy, comedic, curious, not kind. Lady Katarina was very not kind. Cynical, oddball, popular, rebellious, or tragic. I mean, this is a question for Jess. Jess, what are you thinking? If you want to know the stats on any of them specifically, but like I'm thinking oddball could be funny. Tragic is also a good option. I think she's very kind. Yeah, sarcastic. Yeah. Again, if you haven't seen the show that we're talking about, I've just put a link to all of the episodes in chat. Go check them out. Oddball feels right. Okay, oddball. Let's check oddball out. So, let's see. Being different oftentimes means sticking up with yourself. You begin with 2 health. Okay. I guess we're just going to be building this character at level 1, by the way, because we'll work on that as we go. But this is my first time fully building a character in this system, so we're going to learn. 2 health. Essence score increase options. You can increase any essence score by 1. We will decide how that goes once we learn how to pick our scores. So just remember we can do any by 1. Let's see. You gain the following list of skills to acquire at the D2 skill die or add a specialization to said skill if you already possess it. So we'll figure out what that does in a minute too. Again, I'm new at this. Speed-based infiltration. Oh, wait. So okay, I get it. So our skills are intimidation, might, alertness, culture, survival, infiltration, animal handling, deception, performance, and streetwise. That's our skills. Base ground movement is 30 feet. We'll deal with Lady Katarina being able to fly in a minute once we get there. Where do we put movement? There we go. 30. Languages, we'll worry about that later. Origin benefit is nobody like me. You're truly unique, and this is shown by you being able to choose any perk you have prerequisites for. Oh, so literally just any... Okay, so this is the open-ended one. We've picked the open-ended customization one. We'll get back to that as we learn a little bit more about how this system works. Let me see. Did we accidentally miss picking the base stats? I really don't think we did. Maybe the stats come from the character class. We'll find out. So, roles, the Power Ranger spectrum. These are the colors. Roles, classes, colors, whatever you want to call them. Now again, the way that this system has its classes set up is that the classes are tied to colors. And I can kind of, go through exactly what these are on this table right here. So, Black Ranger. Oh, I guess I should say that here's how you can kind of tell what the classes are. Each class has a main stat that they get a +2 on, and then a secondary stat that they get a +1 on. So that's kind of how you can tell what sort of the specialization of the class is. Black Ranger is described as a skilled warrior whose charm and personality helps form bonds between their team. They are primarily charisma, bonus to strength. I'm using D&D terms, but that's for the sake of simplicity. Blue Ranger. Blue Ranger is smart. That's the classic archetype for Blue Ranger. These are all based on the Mighty Morphin archetypes. So Blue Ranger's primary stat is smarts. Their secondary stat is speed. Green Ranger is interesting because Green Ranger's whole thing is that they're a solo fighter. A lot of this game is teamwork. Green Ranger is designed to fight on their own. Their primary stat is strength. Their secondary is speed. Pink is sniper. Pink is the dexterity sniper. They have +2 speed, +1 to social. Red is the leader. They are strength and then social. Yellow is a dexterity one, +2 speed, +1 smarts. Now, there is a White Ranger, but it's a little bit different. Out of curiosity, I'll grab the second book here and read off the stats for these classes. Let's see. I don't know how this book is organized. Character options. No, that's origins. We don't want that. Okay, here we go. Gold Ranger. Gold Ranger is tank. I remember this. Gold Ranger is the defensive tank ability. Their thing is +2 strength, +1 to social. Like I said, they're tank. Silver. Silver is weird. I admittedly don't get how Silver works. I would need to read through it, and I'm not going to do that on this stream. But their stats are +2 speed and smarts. Phantom is weird. Phantom is like a stealth one. They get +1 strength, +1 speed, +1 smarts. So instead of getting 2 to 1 and 1 to a third, they get +1 to 3. And they're weird. We're not worrying about this book right now. So, the question then becomes, what class do we want for Lady Katarina? Pink Ranger is the color that we're going to go for, but I'm not going to make our colors tied to classes just for vibes. That said, I feel like Sniper could be. Green Ranger also feels very accurate. Well, let's scroll down and look at some of the abilities, because this is supposed to be learning the RPG. Let's compare. So, I'll just do whichever one I get to first. Oh, green. Okay, so let's look at some of the Green Ranger abilities. These are the tables here. The tables look very similar to 5e character ones that you've seen. You have stat increases over here. Personal power capacity, think of that like, sort of like spell slots, monk key points. It is the resource that you use to do things. And then solo strike, I believe that is their specific thing. Let me compare it to another character sheet here. Yeah, idea points. This is the class specific stat. So, let's check here. These are just basic stats. Oh, this is another important thing. Let's go ahead and talk about this right now. Every character gets this at first level. It's Morphin time. Starting at first level, by summoning the energy within you through your Power Morpher and saying the words, "It's Morphin time," as a standard action. That's interesting. Morphing is an action. It's not like you get to free morph, so you actually do have to think about that in combat scenarios. While morphed, you gain a bonus to your toughness. All of your jump distances are tripled. Yes, this has Power Rangers vibes in that they jump around and do stupid stuff all the time. As a free action, you can summon your weapons, and when reduced to 0 health, you demorph at 1 health. So yes, morphing is actually very much part of this system. It's not just you're always morphed. You have to actively do it. If you get knocked down, you demorph instead of dying. It's a cool system. It's very cheesy, yes, but it's a cool system. So, and I should say, I believe this is the same for everyone. There might be like slight stat differences for different classes, but you know. Anyway, Solo Strike. Solo Strike is so people are saying there's an ad break now, so I'm fine talking about Solo Strike during an ad break because it's not that crazy. Starting at first level, the Green Ranger is skilled at picking a single target and going at it one by one. They can make an attack on an adjacent target, which is also not adjacent to any allies, and they get bonus dice to it. That's it. like I said, this is the solo class, so if you're fighting by yourself, you can do your solo strike thing and do extra damage, essentially. You have unique power weapons. These we will discuss later because power weapons are separate stuff. Survival boon. Green Rangers need to have an extra sense of self-protection that other Rangers aren't often because of the time spent fighting on their own. So, you have bonus survival and awareness and, there's a word I'm looking for. Resilience, maybe? Anyway, you get to pick one of these at a time. You get one at 2nd level, one at 9th, and the 3rd at 14th. These are actually kind of cool. You can't be surprised. You can become statue. You can freeze at a moment's notice, gaining an edge on stealth checks, basically. The first attack that targets you each round has essentially disadvantage. All that's actually pretty cool. So it gives you just things that are going to allow you to fight solo more reliably. Hello, my dude says, I forget if Battleizers are in the system or not. They are in the new expansion. They are in the in-space expansion. So we're not going to be talking about them today, but they are a thing. There are Zords. We're going to talk about Zords separately. Everybody gets them, so we'll go through the classes. Not going to go through every one, but the ones that Jess is considering. And then, extra attack, grid powers, which are special abilities. Essentially, the main thing that Green Rangers have is this: you do more damage if you're the only one fighting a target, and you have extra survival things. Pink Ranger's actually next. Let's go over that one since this is the color that we are actually using. So instead of the dice bonus for the solo attack, the Pink Ranger resource is called Volley Shot. Let's see what that does. Here's its morphin time. It works the exact same. Volley. At 1st level, your Pink Ranger skills with a ranged power weapon are such that you can use your Morphin Grid power to launch a volley of attacks instead of a single shot. Basically, multi-attack. You get multi-attacks at range. That's pretty much it. By spending one personal power, you can make a volley attack action, and the way this works, this is actually kind of cool. This is the volley shot number, so this scales with your level. This is how many attacks your volley shot makes. So at 2, or at level 1 through level 4, you're making 2 volley shot attacks, but it goes all the way up to 6, which is cool. What other stuff? 2nd level, you're particularly adept at making yourself difficult to hit. They can do acrobatics. Acrobatics boosts your evasion. Simple. Also at 2nd level, you get more movement speed, things like that. These are actually pretty quick. Let's just go through all of them. These aren't going to take that long. We can just go through the core 2 abilities. Red Ranger, Power Strike. It says plus damage, so I'm assuming it's a damage buff, but I don't know exactly what. Let's find out. At 1st level, a Red Ranger's attacks can be direct conduits to their Morphin Grid energy. You can, while making any form of melee attack, spend 1 personal power to add a number of bonus damage if the attack is successful. Cool. You make a hit, you can just say, I want it to do more damage. Straightforward. It's a Red Ranger. That does make sense. This one is actually really cool. I remember reading this one. This is like the leadership skill, right? At the beginning of any combat, instead of rolling their own initiative, you roll initiative just like in 5e, your teammates may choose to set their initiative as 1d4 lower than yours. They must choose to follow this perk before you roll initiative, but for every person that chooses to do that, you add 1 to your initiative roll. That's so neat. So Red Rangers, you want a good stat for initiative, and then you can have your teammates bank on your leadership abilities, basically, to go right after you and add bonuses to your roll. Isn't that cool? Is that cool? I love that. It's such an interesting ability, and the way they do leadership stuff. Amy, you can go and block that guy, by the way. I have no idea what that guy's talking about. For the record, weirdo, I am not straight. Ha. Anyway, at 2nd level, you're focused on making the most out of your power attacks. Whatever you roll, you can re-roll your attacks. Anyway, so damage. Damage and leadership stuff is what you got for Red Ranger. Yellow Ranger, their thing is follow-up die. I don't actually know what that is. What I am assuming from the name is if you make a successful attack, you get to sort of double hit. Let's see if I'm right. That's not the ability. This is it. Flurry of Blows. Whenever you make a finesse attack action, basically a dexterity attack, you can spend a personal power to make an attack with each of your hands at no penalty, and then make a third follow-up martial arts attack at the target of one of your previous strikes. So it's not just one, it's a bunch. It's like a martial arts flurry nonsense. That's pretty cool. Okay. And then, starting at second level, use the agility of the Yellow Ranger to weave through combat, delivering successful blows whenever they're needed. After each successful melee attack, you may immediately move 5 feet in any viable direction. That's kind of cool. So this is just monk stuff. This is just 5e monk, basically. Let's see here. Oh, and then, yeah, that's it, because we skipped the first two because we started off green. Let's scroll back up. Blue. Blue has idea points. I have no idea what idea points is. I know I've read it before, but I do not remember off the top of my head. Also, yeah, no, that guy was just strained. I don't know why people don't have, you know, hobbies on the internet. Oh, well. I have 800,000 followers, and I'm sure that that idiot doesn't, so who's really winning in this scenario, you know? Okay, let's see. This is the idea point thing. You are constantly inspired on ways to do things that exemplify your wit and intelligence. This mega mind looking. You receive a number of idea points per day as listed on the table above. At any point when you are about to make a skill check with a smart skill, you may spend an idea point to gain edge on that roll. So it's not combat based. Interestingly. That is the first one that we've seen that's not combat based. It is for just pure intelligence checks. Explain a character badly, Adam Park, second Mighty Morphin Black Ranger. The fact that they put his ninja suit into the fighting game makes me sad. I'm sorry, but I don't like the ninja suits. Cool character, stupid suit. I'm sorry. Anyway. Now this is Artificer. You're right. This is basically Artificer. The second thing is you can use your connection to technology of the Morphin Grid to patch up the power shell of another team member. They can heal. Blue is a support. They are tech healing support. Simple as that. Now let's look at black, and then we will decide. I think black is another less combat one, but I could be entirely wrong, so let's find out. Beginning at first level, your natural mirth and positivity can be used... Oh, this is Bard. Right. Black Ranger's Bard. Whether in the heat of battle or at the peak of a difficult obstacle, your clever words can make the difference between failure and success. As a free action, you can apply a +1 shift, which we will talk about, to the roll of any ally within 60 feet of you that can understand what you're saying. It's Bardic Inspiration. It is this... I guess it is a little different than Bardic in that it's not like I give you inspiration and you choose what to use it on. It is you do something and I will buff the roll. Functionally the same. At second level, your charm extends to others when you need to acquire something mundane from a shop, store, another person within the backdrop of the normal so-called world. Edge for charisma checks. So these are the two that have non-combat abilities, just blue and black. Now that we've gone through the basics of all those, Jess, you still feeling green? Which one are you feeling? I'm down for literally whatever. Natural mirth and charm, that's it. That's Lady Charlotte Katarina for sure. Yeah, sure. Sure. Feeling pink, TBH? Alright, cool. We'll do a Pink Ranger. Pink in color and pink in class. Let's scroll down to Pink Ranger. This is not Pink Ranger. Why did I stop here? This is Pink Ranger. There we go. Alright, so. We're not going to do this at level 1. Let's do this at level 10, just for fun. Again, this is the first time I'm ever using this system, and I have a cold, so who knows. It was always going to be pink. Fair. So, what I think I'm actually not sure about is base stats. I have not yet seen a way to do base stats in this, and I'm wondering if I accidentally skipped it. This is why I'm glad that I also have the physical book in hand. So I can just look. I don't know if it's that stats start out as 0 or and like, you know, you get the bonuses like that. Here we go. Essence scores. But how do you pick it? It's a number from 1 to 10. And 0 is like, 0 is nothing. So it definitely doesn't start out as 0. But how do you pick them? How do you get them? Yeah, that's powers, that's equipment. Am I just stupid and missing this? Let me see if I can find this in the table of contents, because I could just entirely be dumb here. Assign your essence points to essence scores. Yep, I totally just missed it. Ignore me, I'm just stupid. Okay, let's see. When you create your character, you will have 12 points to spend between the 4 skills. Found it. Found it. Okay, so we have 12 plus any bonuses that we have. Now, we picked the oddball origin, which I did not write down, even though I should have. And oddball's bonus was literally just 1 to anything. So functionally, we have 13 to split between these. So I feel like Lady Katarina is probably going to be primarily smarts and speed, right? Is that, again, we're gonna let Jess, since this is kind of Jess's character that we're building. I also did not put that in the screen where it's supposed to be. Primarily speed and smarts is probably what we're wanting here. And again, we have 13 points. It also is worth noting that it said 0 is like, for example, it said a character with a strength of 0 is like comatose. So it cannot be 0 at all. But it also doesn't really say specifically how that's going to work. So, largely speedy and smart. Here we go. It said your GM can assign these points however you choose, but the most common spread is 4, 3, 3, 2. So, let's do a little bit, let's do a little bit more flavor here, especially since we're going to get... Oh, wait! We have 13 points because we picked oddball. So, if we do the basic and say 4, 3, 3, 2, I guess that's a question for Jess. Should we make her weakest skill strength or social? Also, yes, these numbers are a little offset. Let me try to fix that. I don't know why that's the case. Also, I'm going to go ahead and boost this up with our bonus floating point from Oddball. So we're at 4. Do we want our character's lowest stat to be Charisma or Strength? Strength is her weak stat for sure. Okay, cool. So, Speed and Smarts are both going to be at 4. Social's at 3. Strength at 2. Now, we do have the bonuses from Pink Ranger. Oh god, are we gonna have to ban this dude repeatedly? Oh dear lord. Do you not have hobbies? Hold on. Account created 3 minutes ago. Oh god. Someone's making Twitch accounts to be annoying. That's fun. Okay, let's see. We said we're gonna build this character to level 10, so I'm gonna go through sort of half on camera and just add these bonuses. Well, I'll put it like that. There we go. At level 1, Pink Rangers get... Oh, wait. No, that's right. Pink Rangers get a +2 to speed and a +1 to social. Funny enough, Lady Katarina is going to be getting a little bit bonus social. Is that person still here? Also, yeah, that person is apparently making new accounts because that account said it was made 3 minutes ago. So, if they make a third account, someone find their IP and dox them. I'm not a nice person. I don't care about that. I'm dead serious, by the way. If you have the ability to do that, do it. I like vengeance. Anyway, let's see. 4 stats does allow for a pretty balanced character. It is a pretty nice system. Another social increase at level 2. A smarts increase at level 3. A strength increase at level 4. Another, maybe 10. 10's going to take a bit to do this. There we go. I'm going to stop saying them out loud every time just for the sake of this being... going to take a while. 8th is another speed, and then I'll just kind of... I did not mean to give 65 on smarts. That's a little bit stronger. I did a speed increase. Damn it. I lost track of where I was. Okay. I don't know why I decided to do it like this. Hold on. I'm going to be a smart person for once in my life, and I'm just going to go through and total them and then add them to the total that way. +2 to strength total. This is a much better idea than what I was doing. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. I'm sick, so leave me alone. I have a cold. I'm allowed to be stupid today. +2 to smarts, and +4 to social. So wow, Pink Ranger really said you are competent at things. Let's see. I told you yesterday on TikTok that you can't say these things. Can't say what things? I stand by everything I've said. I stand by everything I said. Anyway, now that I have gotten this character's stats up, let me recenter this book here. Oh, wow, I actually got it perfect just off guessing. So, Lady Katarina's final base stats are an 8... Hold on. I didn't add the smarts one. I was like, that doesn't look right. Fixed it. There we go. Lady Katarina's base stats are a 4 on strength, an 8 on speed, and then a 7 on both smarts and social. So we were going to make Lady Katarina's social stat low, and apparently the game system said no. The game system said nope, she is going to have good stats regardless. Now, let's pick skills. We were supposed to do this before we picked classes, apparently. I didn't do that right, so... In most cases, your origin and skill choices will give you a few starting skills automatically. I'm actually going to just read this off my physical book, and we will put this in the main screen here. There we go. Okay, let's see. Let's check this oddball thing. Oh, wait, okay, hold on. This is interesting. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, wait, this is very interesting. Okay. Oh, this is actually kind of cool. Okay, hold on. I totally missed how this works, actually, for how this system is. But this is a really cool system here. Let's talk about how this is going to work. So, the way that these stats work is what these are. These basic skills here, these are not numbers that you're going to roll off of. These are points. And then you spend those points to level up your dice that you use. Oh, this is cool. This is very... Okay, let me give an example here. Let me give an example here to explain how this works. So, you see, if I zoom in, there's these ranks here. D2, D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. These are your bonus dice. So, the way that these work, say I would have, say I, as the DM, tell Lady Katarina to make an alertness check, right? She's going to roll a base D20. Base D20, nothing fancy. That's what it's going to be. But we have 7 skill points in this category. We can go through now and distribute these points into skills. Let's say we want to take 2 of our 7 points and put them into alertness. That's the new bonus. That's the new bonus. So it's a D20 and then a D4 on top of that, and that's what the bonus is. That's so neat. D2, is that a coin? Yes, that's a coin. That's a coin flip. That's so cool, actually. I love that system. I love that system. So that's how this is going to work, is we determine those. That's awesome. I didn't understand that when I was reading that through, but that's a really cool idea. Okay, so let's see. We do get some passive skill up based on origins. I understand what this means now. So let me go through and read this again. And again, I'll leave the character sheet up on your screen and read it from my physical copy. We picked oddball. There we go. Okay. Or at a specialization. Now, let's see. I don't know what specialization is. That's one thing that I'm not understanding. Hold on. Specialized in a skill. Okay. Hold on. Let me read. I'm sorry, I'm reading through this off, and then I'll read it to you once I understand it. When you specialize, okay. Third point in the site instead of okay. Okay. Oh, this is a really cool system, guys. I actually absolutely freaking love this. All right, so the way that this is going to work, the example, I actually like the example they use in the book, so I'm going to do the lazy thing and just rip from the book. So, science, right? We might give Katarina science, I don't know, but I'm going to use the example I have in the book. So, say you have 3 ranks in science. You can also give yourself specializations in things. This is something that we get for our origins. So, specializations, I think it can just be anything. I think it can kind of just be whatever. It doesn't really say... it doesn't really have like a list of specializations that I'm seeing. So I guess it can just be kind of whatever is fitting. The example they gave is under science, you can specialize in medicine, and then that's an extra D2. That's an extra D2 to things, which is crazy. That's such an... Okay, this is such a cool system, dude. This is such a cool system. But we're not going to be doing that right now. So, now we need to decide how we want to distribute these points. Bonus skill levels, you gain... Okay. That's the wrong thing. She specializes in bugs. Okay, I will put bugs on the list. Now here's the one thing that is not bad, but like I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do this system in a streamlined way. The way that this works is you get skill levels from your origin, but it specifically says you gain them at the D2 level or add a specialization if you already have it. So you have to pick skills first, technically, and then you add a specialization, which I understand that. I understand that. So now we have to decide what we want to give Katarina. I feel like intimidation... We'll start with strength. We'll just go left to right. I'll actually zoom in so you guys can see. So for strength, we have 4 points here to distribute. We have athletics, brawn, intimidation, and might. Now, admittedly, I don't know what the difference between brawn and might is. let me see what the difference between brawn and might is in this system, because I have no idea. Okay, brawn versus might. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, so the way that they have this described is brawn versus might. Brawn is, they call it a marathon versus a sprint. Brawn is like prolonged strength things, like lifting and carrying things for long times. Whereas might is like quicker stuff, like martial arts, punching and stuff. That's interesting. But for the purposes of Lady Katarina, she does not have brawn or might. Do we literally just want to give her 4 to intimidation? I think strength versus endurance is another good way of describing it. Yes. And I think intimidation is the only thing in this category that Lady Katarina has. So we are going to worry about this stuff in a second. We're going to go ahead and give her 4 into that. Speed. We have 8 points to distribute in speed. We have acrobatics. We have driving. We have finesse, infiltration, an initiative bonus. That's interesting. And targeting. Again, 8 points. Jess, what are we wanting here? Probably not driving. Again, we're building a fantasy character in this system here, so, you know, if you want to be good at Zord, we can put some points into driving. And if you're curious, I think finesse is, like, speed melee is a good way to describe it. I'll find that specifically. Targeting is obviously ranged. Finesse is fast applications of bodily dexterity. Escape artist is what's martial arts, sleight of hand, dexterity weapons, etc. She gets nothing in targeting. Okay, finesse for sure. How many points do you want to put in finesse? Oh wait, no, hold on. Someone said nothing on target. Here, I'll go ahead and put in 2 for infiltration, 2 for finesse, 2 for targeting. We have 2 more to distribute there. You want to put any in acrobatics? You want to put more in here? Again, I'm sorry to like throw all this on you, Jess, but I hope you're enjoying this. We can put in... let me see, because people were asking about driving. I'll read off the official description for driving. Operate any number of motor vehicles. It does include Zords. Yes, to answer a question, driving is normal vehicles like cars and planes and stuff, which are things that have stats in this system. It does also include Zords. Let's do more in finesse. More in finesse. More in finesse is set. Let's see, then we have smarts. We have 7 points in smarts. We have alertness, which I am assuming... Let me actually see. Is alertness like perception and just battlefield awareness? I was wondering if there was more... Yeah. Alertness is perception, investigation, and insight, they call it. Is a combination of those. Is the stats thing like you... Or driving thing like you can drive or like stunt driving? It's like piloting. Really, I think piloting would probably be a better context to call it than driving. Because it's like Zord combat and stuff. Can you repeat what finesse is? I already forgot. That's fair. It's a lot of things. It seems to combine dexterity attacks and sleight of hand and a bunch of other things that are like fine motor control movements. So, for the smart skills, we have alertness, we have culture, we have science, we have survival, and we have technology. Again, we're kind of building based off a fantasy character in a sci-fi world here, but... So there's not a magic check in this. We have science and we have technology. Power Rangers world does have magic in it, but it's not a magic... It's a rare enough thing that it's not in the magic... It doesn't have its own stat, is I guess what I should say. Survival and science. Yeah, I think science is probably what we're going to go ahead and call our magic, so we'll split these between survival and science. And then finally social, which also has 7. Animal handling. I feel like animal handling with a focus under bugs is definitely going to be what we've got here. But to run through them all, animal handling, deception, performance, persuasion, and streetwise. Now this is a kind of cool one. Streetwise, there's some things that play off that, which we'll talk about in a bit. Actually, why do I say we'll talk about it in a bit? We'll do this right now. What they specifically say for streetwise is it's a lot of like... It's like crime stuff, like black market crime, gossip, transportation. It's a very specific thing for like not fancy persuasion checks, basically. There is actually a very specific background here that I don't remember where it is, but I'll go over it when I see it. Where if you have like a musician background, you can literally like play a concert if you play a concert in like an urban area, you get advantage on streetwise checks for like the rest of the day. It's a really cool way that they do it. Animal handling for sure, and maybe streetwise since she's very gossipy and black markety. All right, cool. We'll go ahead and animal handling and click up streetwise. So that is all of our core stats. Now let's go to our oddball perks and see what we can add to that. Here we go. Oddball gives you, funny enough, it actually gives you a point in might and a point in intimidation. Jess, do you have a specialization that you would like to add under intimidation? Because you get one of those from your origin. Again, the way this works is there's a bunch of essentially class skills, and if you don't have a point in them, you get a point in them. If you have a point in them already, you get an specialization? Do you have a specialization on that? And specialization is an extra D2 onto the roll. Rudeness? Sure. Intimidation through rudeness we will put on the list. Speed-based adds infiltration. We already have an infiltration. Do you want a specialty on infiltration, Jess? And if you want like suggestions on all of these... Again, I don't think there's a list of like specific specializations that you can take. I do believe that it is just whatever you want. I'm going to check the index here. Yeah, I'm not seeing a specific list. Suggestions might be good. All right, sure. I'll put in suggestion. So like tricking people, manipulating people. I get what you're going for there. And then I already put... oh, that's the only speed-based skill from Oddball. Next is smart-based skill boosts, which is intimidation and... Nope, I was reading strength again. My bad. Alertness, culture, and survival. So, can I go out on a limb here and say bugs? Oh, I meant I was asking for suggestions. Oh, that makes a little bit more sense. But we'll put that in, and if you want to switch it to something else, go ahead, do it. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say anything that reasonably could be bugs is going to be bugs. So survival is going to be bugs. You get a point in alertness, and then a point in culture. So those don't need specializations, but you do get a point in survival, and I'm going to go ahead and put in bugs. And then finally, social. You get there's one for animal handling. I'm going to go ahead and put in bugs. You get one for deception, performance, and you do get a specialization in streetwise, Jess. So what do you want your streetwise specialization to be? The heck is that? You guys hear that buzzing? Is that a car outside? Did you even hear that? Did that register on the mic? That was so loud. I don't know if that registered on the mic or not. Oh well, must have been a weird car outside or something. Oh well. Bug maxing, we are, but okay. Illegal goods. Okay, I will put smuggling. Oh, yeah, you know what? Smuggling is kind of a different thing. I will put illegal goods, knowledge of where to find them, how to move them, etc. I don't, but you're generally quiet. Is my audio too quiet or the music too loud for anyone else? I can totally change those settings at any time, by the way. So if my audio is screwy for people, let me know. That said, I might be a little quieter today than usual because I do have a cold. Let's see. Okay, cool. So I believe that is everything that we need for there. All right, sweet. Now we can return to the book and move on. Also, I do believe that the way you can do this is if you hit a certain level in a skill, you can get a specialization instead of getting a die boost. We're not going to worry about that now just for the sake of time. But whatever. Your audio is always quiet. I need headphones for all your streams. Really? That's a good question. I don't watch too much Twitch in general, chat. Is my audio notably more quiet than other streamers? Is that like a thing that people notice? If that is an issue, I can try to fix it. Oh well. Anyway, what do we have to do next? I'll actually go back to the book for this. Right over there. No? Okay. Weird. Oh, let's go through abilities and general perks. Yes. Okay. Oh, I think it's almost Zord time. I think Zord is actually the next thing we need to determine. It is. Rules and statistics surrounding Zords can be found in page 131. Why am I looking in the physical book? Why am I not going on the book that you guys can see? I always have to plug in my cat ear headphones and use the speakers for you. I constantly have my... Really? I'm always... That's so odd. Maybe it's just because my mic is like 2 feet away from me. Do I need to get my mic closer to me? Here, let me... My audio is like... Here. There we go. I boosted my audio a little bit. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that. I'll boost my music a little bit to compensate. How's that? Is that a little louder? I hope I didn't just burst everyone's eardrums. I have no idea how much I just changed. Oh well. Maybe I really shouldn't be worrying about audio when I have a cold. I feel like that is the worst time, just reasonably. I have you on max volume on my phone. Okay. I can't. I'll think about how to fix this later, but I should not be worrying about this while I have a cold. That seems like a horrible, horrible idea. Okay, so Zords. Page 131. Oh well. I mean, as long as I'm audible, right? If you turn me up to... TBH, that helped a lot. Oh, okay. Huh. Cool. Cool. We are officially switching. I don't know if I've said this. We are not using Skype anymore for D and Dorks. That era is done. We are starting to use Zoom after this. Oh, I totally forgot. We're not doing Zords yet. See, this is what happens when I have a cold and I try to do something new. We're not doing Zords yet. We have one more thing that we have to decide, which is influences. This is the equivalent of background, right? This is the equivalent of background. Now, it does say you can have okay, let me see. Your character choosing an influence provides you with important story cues about your character's identity. Having multiple influence gives you some interesting points to your character's past. You might be able to pick... Oh, a character can have up to... Oh, wow, this is a bunch. A character can have up to 3 influences at character creation and gets all the benefits from their perks as well as roleplay suggestions. But for every influence, the character must choose a hang-up. So, we are probably only going... Oh, wait. Okay, I remember these. Let me walk you through how these work because they are a little bit strange, and also walking you through how things work is the point of this freaking stream. Let's use the artisan one. because it's first on the list. The way that these work is they give you one perk, which I believe all of the perks are basically just advantage. It is edge. We'll walk you through exactly how edge works compared to advantage in a bit. But you gain an edge when your art comes into play, such as when performing, sharing techniques, or applying your art to a mission. You also gain an edge on social and smart skills tests where your art style applies. So, you get edges when talking about art stuff if you're an artisan, but you also have snag, effectively disadvantage, on smarts and social skills unrelated to your art while you're actively involved with your art. So if people try to interrupt you while you're hyperfixating, you get disadvantages, which is very funny. Most of these are all very minor things, which now I understand why they say you can have up to 3 of them. There's a whole bunch. We'll go through all of them. We don't have to pick 3. Obviously, we're not using this character today, so we can change everything if we ever decide to. But what does Katarina think? We have artisan, caretaker. Again, all of these are basically just you're good at the thing, and then there are also changes for things. Community helper, don't think that's Katarina. Small town roots, maybe. Martial artist, nomad, not from around here. This is like the vague one, I think. Student, and survivor, and teacher. Why did I think student was last? Teacher, and that's it. Out of curiosity, I want to go. All these are so positive. Yeah, it's Power Rangers. Now there are going to be some weirder ones in the expansion, so let me run through the expansion. Where are the characters here? Oh, here we go. Yeah, these are a lot weirder. All of these in the base game are very basic, like, here's your real human job, which, you know, kind of makes sense because it's Power Rangers, but... oh! Antagonist! Antagonistic is one of these. Okay, maybe we will pull from this. There's antagonistic, enigma, which is like mysterious drifter, hunted, noble blood. Oh, noble blood? Yeah, this is totally the book we should be looking for Katarina. Stargazer, traveler... wait. I'm totally looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at origins. These are origins, not influences. Ignore me. They're good things. Sivan, thank you for the follow. These are origins. I don't want to go through and change the origin that we did because I'm trying not to use this book because I don't have it in PDF form. But for note, antagonist, noble blood would be better for Katarina. That said, the influences are still more interesting. Agency, which is like you gave a portion of your life to an organized agency if you're a government agent or something like that. Augmented, you're a cyborg. These are so much more fancy. Destiny, that might be a good one for Katarina. A destiny, prophecy, or fated moment shapes your future whether you like it or not. Oh, royalty! Royalty is in here. Yeah, that's the last one. Ship's crew is technically the last one if you're a ship crewman, but royalty is there. Do you want to do royalty, Jess, for Lady Katarina? I mean, she has lady in the name. So that makes sense. For note, your connection to a royal sect, group, or family gives you a surprising amount of connections and power. When your royal status comes into play, you gain edge on skill persuasion. Cool. I know I said we weren't going to be using the expansion, but for this, we're going to do that. So you gain edge on persuasion, and our influences. This PDF is so not aligned right. Royalty. And the hang-up from that, no matter how far removed from the throne, the crown, or the top of the pyramid you are in the royal line of succession, someone is waiting to make the most of your public failures. Whenever you fumble a skill test in public, the pressure of creating a scandal or misrepresenting your family gives you -1 on all social skill tests until you crit on a skill check, therefore restoring your self-confidence and standing. That's really funny. This book has... You know, I've been doing more character creation for the first chunk of this. I'll go into more thoughts on the system later. This system has good stuff. I like this system a lot. So, that's the influence. Technically, you can get more influences if you would like them, but for the sake of time, we're not going to go into all of them. So back to the things that you can actually see. Thank you, Across the Stars expansion. Back to character sheet. Now it's Zords. Now we get to do Zords. Page 131. Can I just... Nope, that didn't work. I'm just gonna guess. That's weapons. We'll do weapons in a bit. We might actually not do weapons just because weapons are gonna take a bit. I'll run through how they work. But we might not character create them, you know. Vehicles. The Zords! Got cool art there. Creating your Power Ranger Zord. Some more very cool Megazord art, actually. I like this Megazord art. So, baseline Zord statistics. These are just the starts. Spectrum Zord features. Pink, basically every class gets one auto boost to their Zord. For Pink, it's a movement booster. Now, the way that they have Zords here is they are team-based. So, like, if you have a dinosaur, it is, you know, combiner, heavy chassis. Again, if I was running this as a DM, I would very much be like, yeah, just your cosmetics don't have to correspond to your stats. That is one of my very, 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 very minor criticisms of this system is like they have cosmetics correspond to stats, but also like you just don't have to. Like I get why they did it because it's an easy marker. It's an easy marker. Can you say the royalty drawback again, please? There were ads. Yeah, basically, you get disadvantage on social checks if you fail a skill check in public because you lose self-confidence, and then you restore your prestige when you crit. So that's essentially how it works, which is very funny. Let's see, gaining levels with your Zord. You don't gain levels in the same way that you do as a player, but you do gain levels with it. A Zord grows with every 5th level gained. You get bonuses, common Zord features. Call to action. Now this is funny. There are specific rules for when you can summon your Zord. And I get why this is the case because they don't want you summoning your Zord just whenever. There are Zords in 2 cases. Number 1, a Zord cannot answer or shall not answer to do a task a Ranger can do on their own. And a Zord shall not answer to fight a battle until the tides are turned and the enemy has their upper hand. It is the classic bit where it's like, why don't the Power Rangers start with the Zords? The reason for that is because there is an official rule within the Power Rangers universe that like the code of ethics for the Rangers does not allow them to escalate fights. So you can't start with the Zord because that would be escalating a fight. Those are more just to keep people from using Zords for whatever nonsense you want. So we're going to talk about how you summon Zords to the fight because it's cool. And then we'll look at how you make them. You can take a standard action to summon your Zord if the 2 rules are met. If you are not in a situation that breaks either of the 2 Zord rules, you can take a standard action to summon their Zords. In 3d2 rounds, the Zord arrives to the conflict. So you do not summon your Zord instantly. You have to summon your Zord, and then you have to wait for it to get there. Which I love, because that's very funny, but also makes a lot of sense. Now, once a Zord arrives, you get teleported to the cockpit, which is how it works in the show. So you don't have to worry about getting in there. But you do have to summon your Zord and wait for it to arrive. When your Zord reaches 0 health, Zords, they become prone and the crew is allowed to leave, so the Zord does not blow up and kill you. That's generally pretty good. These are Zord features. I believe these are the things that you get every 5 levels. To be honest, I don't know if you start with any. Let me consult the book. Let me consult the Pink Ranger character sheet here. Pink Ranger character sheet, Zords. Oh, I think it starts with the base. You start with your class 1, and then at 6th level, 10th level, 14th level, and 17th level, which is not 5, like it said, but whatever. You get to choose Zord features. So the Zords scale with you. Now, there's a whole bunch of these. We're not going to be going through all of them, and of course, there's more in the expansion. But there's a lot of different things. You know, you can give extra attacks. You can give movement boosts and things. You can have you be a carrier Zord that holds other Zords. These are not attacks. They are buffs, but they're how you upgrade your Zord. There are also, you know, specific things like there are alternate modes that you can get with your Zord. You can make your Zord bigger. It's just how you customize stuff. Now, let's talk about the thing that I'm sure everyone's wanting to see. Megazords. You know there's rules for Megazord combat. Of course there's rules for Megazord combat. Why would there not be? But since I know that's what a lot of people are waiting on, and I also need to refill my water because my throat is starting to get sore again, I am going to take a quick water break. See, I got to take a break on one of those times when people are not going to leave. So, give me like a minute, chat, for me to go refill my water so that my throat does not incinerate itself. And when I return, we will talk about how Megazord combat works in this. I will, to get you guys even more intrigued, I'll go and say, I know how it works. It's good. I like it. It's a very good system. So you guys are going to have to hold tight, but we will talk about Megazord combat when I return in just a minute. All right, I'm back. Liquids restored. Sorry about that, but you're lucky I'm streaming it all today. I didn't have to, but trying to be more professional. So, let's get into this fun stuff because Zord combat is cool. Now, first note, Zords do have to be on the field for long enough before they can combine. It's the escalation thing again. Hi back, I'm Jess. Jess, I'm gonna ban you. We're not making Lady Katarina anymore. Now, I will say one thing that I have not done in this system yet that I am curious about, this is something that I would not be able to tell you until having played the system, which I admittedly have not done yet. It says that Zords have to be in a combat scene for a standard length of 1d6 plus 1 rounds. So you already have to wait till you're losing to summon the Zord, or wait till the monsters to grow, not really till you lose. And then you have to wait for the Zords to get there, and then you have to do the Megazord. That's a really long fight to get to the Megazord. That said, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that this RPG would play out like a Power Rangers episode where they summon the Megazord every single time. I feel like if you're doing this as a campaign, the Megazord is like a big thing that only happens like every couple of episodes, you know? Matt, are you planning to do Baldur's Gate or get Baldur's Gate at some point? I've thought about it, but probably not, to be honest. Okay. Anyway, When designing a Zord with the Combiner Zord feature, when designing, if your Zord can become a Megazord, they may choose one Megaform trait to be the special element that their Zord contributes to the Megaform. And there's a bunch of these. So when you're making your Zord, if you are doing the type of Zord that can become a Megazord, you get to pick one thing that it gets to buff, obviously. So, the Megazord has the highest ability scores of the component parts and crew. So you take the highest stat from each Zord. You know, does that make sense? You know, because if you have a Megazord made of 5 Zords, you're going to pull the highest stats out of that pool, and that's going to make the Megazord. That makes sense. All of the individual crew members in the Zord retain their own skills, etc. You know, you can still do all your stuff. The Megaform acts as if it was a single creature. The Megaform can take any of its participants' attack times. This is where things are kind of cool. Each Combiner participant, each Zord piece, has its own health. When the Megaform suffers damage, you divide damage equally between all the component parts, unless the attack specifically takes a disadvantage, essentially, to target a specific part. So that's how the Zord combat works. When you hit a Zord, the damage gets split between all the specific parts, or you can disadvantage to target one piece that's causing problems. If a Combiner participant in a Megazord reaches 0 health, none of its abilities work anymore. Obviously, the Megazord has the abilities of all the component Zords. If a piece hits 0 health, they're out. They cannot do anything. If more than half of the component Zords reach 0 health, the Megazord is defeated. I think that's a cool system. It's pretty simple. It is very much a thing where it's just like, yeah, the players have to kind of decide as a group what the Zord is going to do, but also, like, it's Power Rangers, what did you expect? And, you know, having the damage split up between, so your squishier Zords are going to take more damage, and so they might have stronger abilities, but their abilities are going to get knocked out of the Zord faster. And then, you know, you have, like, a tank that can be an anchor for the Zord and things like that. And then there's a bunch of different features. These are all example Zords here. There's a whole bunch of example Zords if you want to pull from these. And then the Zord skills. Most of the Zord stuff is in the Zord skills section, which these are here. These are all here. Now I've skipped a bunch of these, and again, there are more things that the Zords can do, of course, in the expansion. But let's go ahead and have Jess pick her Zord. Lady Katarina, what do you want your Zord to be? What do you want your Zord to be? It can be any animal, or it can be a vehicle. I'm assuming it's going to be some kind of bug. I am heavily assuming it's going to be some kind of bug. I realize having the word block would make it impossible to see them if they came back. Man, they're weird. Also, who uses that word anyway? If you're going to sexually harass me, do it in a way that doesn't make you sound like a 70-year-old man. Jesus. Anyway. Mobility Zord. It's a big gross moth. Awesome. I support big gross moth. So, big gross moth is what we're going to have. You do get the mobility 1 passively. So let's look at that. You get the mobility 1 from your class. Mobility booster. This Zord is capable of extraordinarily fast movement, or a different manner of locomotion than simply walking. This feature adds 30 feet to an existing kind of movement in the Zord's move, so you get to go faster. Simple enough. How would you do a campaign without making it too repetitive and episodic? To be honest, I would have to think about that because Power Rangers is so inherently episodic. I just got here. What the what? Some idiot in chat. Don't worry about him. Anyway, so let me look through this list here and decide what else could be fun for a Moth Zord. Definitely not heavy chassis or hardened chassis or anything specific. You can have is there anything? Oh wait. Oh. This is. No, I know what it has to be. Has to be Carrier Zord. Has to be Carrier Zord. This is a subtype of Zord that you see sometimes in the show that has other Zords in it. This Zord is designed to keep other Zords within itself, protecting them from harm until it's time to release them for battle. Following bonuses are added. 2 to strength, 2 to health. A metaphysical space that holds up to 5 smaller Zords and their crew. Carried Zords may not be harmed until released as an action. It's a bug full of other bugs. Now that the stream is frozen, please post this to D&Dorks or Patreon so I can see the vid later. I'm posting it on my YouTube. My VOD YouTube is up. I have not actually talked about this schedule yet, but I'm going to have streams posting the day after they air. I'm going to have streams posting the day after they air. This is technically in the D&Dorks slot, but it's going to be going up on my personal YouTube. You genius, you absolute genius. Okay, so Carrier Zord, and then it would have other bug Zords in it. Now, again, we're not actually going to stat all these out because that would take a while, and I have other things in this system that I need to get to talking about. But, yeah, that's definitely what we're going to do. Bug Zord full of other bug Zords. Cool. Let's see. What other things do we need to determine then? I guess specific weapons is then what we need to determine. Equipment. Equipment for Lady Katarina. Because we don't have spells in this. We got weapons. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of tables here. Let me see exactly how equipment works with choosing it, because I don't actually know. Then we'll go for perks and grid powers, and then I get to talk about like enemies and stuff. So that is the plan. Let me scroll back up to pink here. Oh, autopilot. Okay, we'll look at that later. Pink Ranger, Pink Ranger, Pink Ranger. There's the White Ranger, by the way. I don't know why. White Ranger is, like, they have this weird thing in this book where it's like, here's the Advanced Ranger Spectrum, and it's just the White Ranger. I don't know why they bothered to do that instead of just putting it in the normal one. I think it's, like, for customization, but I don't know why they organized it like that. Oh, well. Okay, let's see. Equipment. Here we go. Grid equipment. You start with your own personal possessions from your pre-morphin life, which is exactly what it says there. You also gain the following items from the morphin grid. Those marked with an asterisk are only available when morphed. You get your wrist communicator, power morpher, blade blaster, and a ranged power weapon. So, we got to pick a ranged power weapon. Sad day for any main team White Ranger. Yeah, this is based on MMPR, which, like, every extended Power Rangers thing is usually just based on MMPR, at least at the base level. Perks and grid powers. Equipment. Equipment. Okay, let's see. There's a ton of equipment here. There's all sorts of fancy stuff. Weapons. Let's look at some ranged weapons. Weapons have traits and effects. These are all pretty basic. Anti-tank ignores armor bonuses. Oop, I have to step away for a moment. Don't worry, this is just weapons. That's not the fanciest thing in the world. Aquatic weapons can be used underwater without penalty. Mounted weapons require these are all pretty simple. I don't think I need to go through all of these. So, since Jess has to step away for a second, let's just go ahead and look at some ranged power weapon options. We can have laser pistols. I'm not going to go through these. Weapons are not the most interesting thing to talk about in this system. They're fine. But again, we're not going to talk about this in huge detail just because there are other things in this system I would rather get to. And this is probably going to be a shorter stream because... throat. Okay. But as you can see, what really matters here is that there are a bunch of different weapons. And obviously you can homebrew them if you would like. There are specific things for combining weapons as well. That's worth noting. You know, Power Rangers combining their weapons into bigger stuff is a thing that happens quite a bit. There are rules for that. There are rules for specific modifiers, upgrades to your weapons. There are things for upgraded armor, if you want an upgraded armor suit. There are rules for battleizers, which are upgraded things for your upgraded suits of armor for your Rangers in the expansion. Hello, my dude asks, is the expansion worth it? I think it's pretty cool. I think the class options are cool. I think the battleizers are cool. There's a lot of fun enemies within it. And speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and get to enemies in just a second because I've spent enough time on character creation. I want to talk about the enemies in this system. But I do have to talk about one more thing for character creation, and then we'll get to that. This being grid perks. These are passives. They're basically just passives. Now there's two sections here. Grid perks and grid powers are technically different. These are things that are, general perks and grid powers. These are not things that are specific to your ranger class. These are things that anybody can pick. I believe, let me look at the exact table to see how many times you get these. It may vary by class, so I'll check Pink Ranger. Let's see. General perks. You get a general perk at 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level. You get grid powers at 6th level, 11th level, and 16th level. So, they're general perks that anyone can pick. That's basically it. Now, these are mostly, they're combat passives, but they're nothing incredibly crazy, Educated, you gain fluency in language, an additional story point. We're going to talk about story points when we get into combat stuff. Once per scene, you can ignore the damage for things. They're basic passes. You need to change the reward description for Hydrate. What does it say? What does it say? Is it something stupid? It's probably something stupid. Hold on. We're going to take a quick detour because Amy told me to do something, and that generally means it's something... What does it say? Oh, wow, that's very old, yeah. I just deleted it. That's super old. I didn't even know there was a reward description on Hydrate. That's from like a year ago. Wow. Yeah, that's super old. My car did not break down today, though I should be hydrating today because I have a cold, but whatever. Anyway, this is that really funny Garage Band. I like this one quite a bit. This kind of just is a good example of how some of these perks can be very fun. You use your musical talents to make extra money and friends, gaining the following benefits. At or after a performance, you have edge on streetwise checks, and you gain +2 on persuasion skill tests targeting fans of your band. So these are fun. These general perks are less things that are like abilities. They are more things about your characters. Some of them are abilities, like Giant Killer, which is stuff that gives you bonuses on big enemies. But then grid powers are the more specific, fancier morpher things. You can enhance your weapons. You can have a sealed suit so that you can breathe in space underwater and things like that. Power blasts, machine merge. This is a wild one. Lets you merge with your Zord so you can get into it faster, stuff like that. Power strike, translation grid. You have a translator module in your suit essentially. What is ninja power? Where was it? Was it on this one? Ninja power. Yeah, see, not all of them are morphin powers. You can activate your ninja power, which gives you edge on your speed-based skills, extra martial arts damage. I don't know. Power Rangers and ninjas are a thing. So sometimes these blend a little bit, but they are in general some just extra passives that you can get. Sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Mostly just character creation stuff. I've just been going through. This is, again, a filler stream, so nothing wrong with it, but you haven't missed too much. Since Jess is not here, we're not going to go through these, but they're extra passives. As for, like, the system analysis, which I haven't done nearly as much of in this one, it's good. From here on, we've done most of the character creation stuff, so this is actually going to be the RPG analysis. 90 minutes into the stream, we're actually going to do the main thing. So we're going to talk about the combat, and we're going to talk about the enemies. And I got to scroll all the way through all of this stuff. Oh, I guess I should know. There are vehicles. There are vehicles in the system other than Zords, but I'm not going to talk about them a lot. Scroll through all the Zord stuff again. You can look at some of the art as it zooms past your screen very quickly. Here we go. Combat. Okay, so I believe that the general flow of combat in this system is fairly similar to 5e, but it is a little bit different with this Essence 20 system. So we are going to go over it. I'm going to see what differences, if any, I can really notice, So, surprise round. This is pretty simple. Setting the initiative order. Initiative is a speed-based check in this. You can get specific bonuses to your initiative based off stats. There's also, the specific, like, leadership buffs. If you weren't here earlier, the Red Ranger, if you're playing a Red Ranger, has a very specific thing where they can have the other members of the team take their turns, like, right after them in the initiative order. But it's risky because you have to choose whether you want to do that before you actually roll. But for every person that picks that they want to sort of jump on that and go right after the Red Ranger gets a boost to its initiative roll. So you can kind of bet on the leader to try to go before enemies, which is cool. Now, this is a little bit of an interesting thing here. This is, I believe, the biggest change in combat system for the Essence 20 system versus 5e, other than some dice rolls. You have speeds in your actions that are a little bit different. You have your speed 1 action, which is your move, your speed 2, which is a move and standard, and your speed 3, which is the character takes 1 move action, 1 standard action, and 1 free action. You can decide how much. It's basically the same here. Now, to be fair, it says that the combat movement section later in this chapter explains the rules and options for a move. I, to be honest, don't know. I guess on their turn in initiative order, they're allowed to take a number of actions equal to their speed score with the following limitations. I'm not sure where you pick your speeds. Oh, I get it. Okay. I understand how this works. So I misunderstood what this is. Basically, this runs off your character sheet. That's interesting. I was misunderstanding what this is. So essentially what this really is if you just have low speed, like low speed stat, it actually does affect the actions you can take in combat. So if you have speed 2 or above, you can take a movement and a standard action. If you have speed 3 or above, you can make a movement, standard, and free action. If you have speed 1, you can do a movement action or a standard action. So this, I'm thinking, is more for enemies, probably. I'll have to take a note as we're looking at enemy stat blocks to see, but this is probably to set up for, like, big, slow, lumbering enemies can't move as much and do as much in combat. That's interesting. I like that. I like that your speed stat actually has combat things rather than just how far you can move. That's a cool system. That's a cool system. But it's actually more similar to 5e than I thought. Free actions, activities on your turn. I'm not going to worry about that. Combat movement is essentially the same as in 5e. Buying additional movement. Now, this is interesting. A free action adds 5 feet to your movement. If you want to use your free action, you can do it for another 5 feet. There is also a sprint action, which replaces your standard. That's pretty similar to 5e, but the ability to use your free action to add 5 feet. Lots of flexibility, which does make sense. This is a Power Rangers RPG. There's going to be a lot of moving around. There's going to be a lot of nonsense sort of backflipping and doing all sorts of stuff around the battlefield. So that tracks. There are size classes. Notably, size classes do kind of matter in this because size classes include Zords. It is entirely possible in this system to have a Zord fight and a regular size Ranger fight going on at the same time. That is 100% something that you can do. Now, it would be wild and probably a little difficult to manage, but you can see this is the one size class table, and the Zords are marked as huge and extended, and they are in the same size category, so you can totally do this. And now it also says, like, adjustable map sizes. You know, if you just want to have Rangers be, like, 5, you can flex with it. But point is, the rules do accommodate the same fight having different sorts of stuff. Combat action, basically the same. Attack action, defend, hide, use a non-combat skill, sprint, blah, blah, blah. Attacks, these are basically the same. This is essentially a very similar system to 5e, which does make sense. There is one more system that I want. Here we go. Skill modifiers. Perfect. This is actually exactly what I wanted to find. Instead of having bonuses in certain cases, this system, and advantage and disadvantage, this system has shift up, shift down, edge, and snag. Let's see exactly where the specific... Maybe this is actually on page 79 and I skipped it because I thought it was going to be covered in combat and I could have just been wrong. Regardless, this is when we're going to talk about it. It's definitely not. Okay. These modifications, okay, Attacker, attack classification, size classification, situational modifiers, skill ladder. Where do you find the rules for that? I'm not sure. Sorry, hold on. I gotta find exactly, because these rules are interesting. I know they're interesting, and that's why I want to be sure that I'm reading them for you correctly and not getting it wrong. Determine your skills, describing your character, choosing your origin. Where do they talk about this? Yes, snags, skill shift up. Where does it say what they do? Did I skip it? If I can't find it, I'll just look in the index at the end here, because maybe I'm stupid. What were the modifiers that they called it? They called it a specific thing. Multi-weapon attacks, grappling, shift skill modifiers, skill training, small town roots. I'm actually not seeing where the specific rules for this are, because it says see skills on page 79, but that's the descriptor of the skills themselves, not the way that the shifts work. That's like the descriptor of what the skills do, you know? They're a little bit different. It's got to be early in the book, but... Essence scores using skills, perhaps. On page 88 is where they're going to go over this. I might have found it. Shift skill modifiers, page 88. I found it. It's on page 88. Here we go. Okay, so. Well, maybe. These can be found on the... God damn it. Okay. The GM determines if there are any outlying special dice shifts for against the user. What do they do, though? Ah, here we go. I found it. I'm so sorry this took so long. It's not that hard. So, first off, edge and snag. Edge and snag are literally just advantage and disadvantage. I've been calling them the equivalent of that. I forgot they are the equivalent of that in the most literal sense I can possibly describe. If you have an edge, is you roll the high or 2d20s, take the higher. If you have a snag, you roll 2d20s, take the lower. That was so underwhelming for the amount of time that I tried to spend finding on it. Now, here is a very interesting thing with the shift skill modifiers, because this is actually cool. This is the part that I thought was more interesting. But the shift up and shift down. So shift up and shift down do not give you the... Wait, hold on. Just go to one applies first. Okay. But how normal limitations? Got it. Okay. Shift up and shift down. You might think change the final number, like a minus or a plus to the number. That is not how it works. This system relies a little bit less on that kind of thing. It relies on dice boosting. So, if you were here like half an hour ago, it works similarly to this system here, where the more skill points you put in something, the more of a bonus die you get to it. Shift up, say you had a shift up 2, it does not add 2 to your die roll. It would change, say, alertness, your bonus die that you roll in addition to the d20 from a d2 to a d6. So shifting dice does not give you a... Yeah, it doesn't give you a numeric bonus. It gives you a dice bonus. I think that's pretty cool. Now, you might be wondering, if you have no bonus to it, if you say we're looking at our technology rank here, we don't have any bonuses, that's treated as saying, like, it's here on the scale, right? So if you have 0 and you have a shift up 2, it goes up to a d4. And if you have shift down, you can auto-fail it. If you get shifted down too far, there's a table here, which I won't bother showing you because it's not that crazy. This is how some crits work. You can have auto success. You can have auto crit if you get shifted up or down too far. Pretty simple system. I like how that works. So, yeah, that is how the dice modifiers in this system work. That's one of the bigger changes from 5e. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. One thing that I do think that it could be in some cases frustrating is it is more luck based, which is not horrible, right? It's not horrible, but using bonus dice rather than bonus flat numbers is going to apply a lot more luck to your rolls, because even if you have like a possible D12, you can still roll a 1. And if you have, it's not that it's higher risk, higher reward. It's less guarantee of a reward. Does that make sense? How far down of a shift equals an auto fail or crit? The table here, I'll just read you the whole table. So, starts at base die, the base dice with no bonuses. If you go below base dice, it's an auto fail. If you go to base dice, it's a crit fail basically. Think of that as a nat 1. Then it's D2, D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. If you go above a D12, you roll 2D8 as your bonus. If you go above a D8, you roll 3D6. If you go above 3D6, it's an auto success. If you go above auto success, it's an auto crit. So it's only 1 below base to get an auto fail, but you're going to have so many bonuses to your attacks, auto failing is probably not going to happen that often, right? Anyway, I believe that is basically... Oh, the table was right here. They have the table in 2 places, which is a good thing. It's good that they have that for simplicity, but I didn't have to read it for you. The table's right here. That's a lot of dice types to remember. I mean, yeah, but they have a table. Like, I don't think it's too bad, because in most cases, it's literally just the bigger number dice. These are the exceptions. These are the exceptions. It is very much the opposite of the Marvel RPG, whereas the Marvel RPGs, you're rolling 3d6s every time. In the Essence 20 system, you are going to be rolling every freaking die that you have in your set. But that's okay. There are also defense stats. This is another thing that is a little bit more like the Marvel RPG as opposed to 5e. 5e has, saving throws and things like that. This does not have saving throws. It has defense stats. And funny enough, if I'm remembering correctly, the defense stats in this system are calculated literally the exact same as the Marvel. It is your base stat in the skill plus 10. That is something that is on this character sheet that we did not do because I knew we would get into it when we got into combat. But you can see 10 plus essence plus perks plus essence is just what the system is. Plus your perks plus your bonus is your morphed defense. So you get more bonus defenses when you're morphed. Simple. Now, there is... Okay, I actually lied. There are kind of saving throws in this. There's willpower, toughness, evasion, cleverness. It's just a defenses, but a little bit fancier. Attacks, basically the same. There are defenses. You got to roll over the defenses. You have your edges. You have your shift up. You have your shift down. It is a more mechanically involved system. That, of course, was one of the biggest... good things to say. What's an opposite of complaint? Like positive, I guess? What is the word that is the opposite of complaint? Compliments, maybe. Compliments is maybe the word. Biggest compliment for the system is the Marvel Multiverse RPG is super simplistic in its dice. This is a little more complicated. If you want a complicated system for dice, this is that. This is that. But that is okay. There are damage types. Damage types are fine. Object toughness, this is all okay. I don't have a lot to say. Damage. The only thing that's really notable on damage is when you get knocked out of your morph form, if you get to 0 health when morphed, like I said earlier, you do not die. You revert to your natural form unconscious at 1 health. So you're not really going to be in the fight much often, but you're not going to get demorphed and keep punching things, but you don't die, which is good. Other combat with like vehicle combat, underwater combat, these are just basic rules. Zords, we kind of already covered. The way that Zords work is you basically just, actually, I didn't really cover how Zord combat works because it's very straightforward. You go in your Zord, your stats become the stats of the Zord. You can use the actions available to the Zord. Some of your abilities will carry over, but that is very dependent on what abilities you have. Some of them are like, yeah, you can do this while you're in your Zord, and some of them are not. Just use common sense. If you think you can do the skill while piloting a vehicle, you can probably still do it. Can you die at all in the system? I would heavily assume so. If you can, get knocked out, you come back at 1 health. So, yeah, a creature that the GM determines defeated means dead or cannot regain health until something truly powerful has been applied, such as a Revivify Matrix has restored it to life. So, yes, you can go away. It even describes here, it says, becoming defeated, dropping to 0 health, doesn't necessarily mean they are killed, because it's Power Rangers. It's Power Rangers. If you want to have death in your system, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that most people who do this system are doing it with Power Rangers vibes in mind. And so it's probably going to be less like, you're going to die. Now, exploration. I don't think I have too much to say about this chapter. I'm going to go through and scroll through it. But this, I will note, the fact that this chapter even exists, this is something that is heavily missing in the Marvel Universe RPG. If we were going through the Marvel Universe RPG, or Marvel Multiverse RPG, technically, sorry. Like, this chapter wouldn't exist. The chapter we skim through of items wouldn't exist. It's so bare bones. This is a system. Essence 20 is a system. It has rules for everything. It has your expansion, rules. It has fall damage rules, some environment rules. And as you can see, there's, like, tables and stuff. How much exploring are you doing as Power Rangers? I mean, in the campaign, right? Look, there's diseases in this. Weirdly, like, the only disease is tetanus, which is funny. The only sample disease is tetanus. There are conditions, crafting, researching, sleep, locations. Another thing that the Marvel Multiverse RPG at the moment totally lacks. This is just, good stuff that defines this as a system, not as just a character creation book. That said, we are not going to spend too much time on this, but you can see there's a lot of it. I'm scrolling through as I'm talking intentionally so that you can see just how much is there. Now, enemies. Enemies in this are fun. Because, look at this, guys. They're normal RPG enemies. They're not weirdly built on the same system as characters, like in Marvel. As you can see here we have Chunky Chicken. They are Power Rangers enemies, so they're going to be funky. But yeah, they have very special things. They have their threat level, they have their size, they have their health. They are not built on the exact same system, but they use the same stats. Toughness, evasion, willpower, cleverness. These are the defensive stats. Ground movement. There are their skills. Very nice, very streamlined. Giant scissors, melee. The Chunky Chicken has a giant pair of shears that it uses as melee combat. Pretty simple. This is actually interesting. I actually forgot to say this because it was said as a thing in the Essence 20 system, but I'm going to take this opportunity to touch on it. You will note that this says to a scene. That is something that this system does a little bit differently than others. Traditionally, a system would be like to a day. This breaks things down into scenes, which you can kind of imagine what that is. It is like narrative scenes. It's not day-based. Because, it's a kind of classic thing in Power Rangers where, like, the Rangers are going to fight this monster, and then the monster escapes, and then they have to go to the other side of the city and also fight it there. Same deal. Same deal. So to a scene, not to a day. Not a huge mechanical, wild thing to talk about, but it is an interesting thing to talk about nonetheless. Here's one thing that I love. One thing I love about... Not one thing I love. I love a lot of stuff about this. Some of you might have picked up that this says Chunky Chicken normal. This one says Chunky Chicken grown. This book 100% has stats for the monsters in their normal form and their big form. You don't have to worry about doing that yourself. If you want to have the Rangers fight and then the monster grow and then do the Zord fight with the same guy, baked right in there. I don't even have anything to say about this. Like, it's such a simple idea. But they do it, and that's excellent. Not all the monsters have that, of course, like Finster. Finster is the guy that makes the monsters. He doesn't have a grown one. There are also minions. There are putty patrollers that are, very weak. They're literally threat level 0. They have 1 health. If you want to throw the Rangers at, like, 50 putty patrollers and have, them just, like, dancing through the fight, killing them in huge amounts, go for it. This system is... It's really the exact opposite of the Marvel Multiverse RPG once again. where that the Marvel Multiverse thing is just like it incentivizes having one big bad and no minions. This is so very much just throw hordes of minions. They have 1 health. Just go nuts with it. They do have upgraded forms as well. There's the Z Putties that have 3 health. Then they get weirder. Turn that off really quick. Then they get weirder. One very classic thing in Power Rangers, because they can't have people dying because it's a kid's show, is people getting turned into stuff. And yeah, this is the thing that happens. Any target hit with Pineapple the Clown's cardboard powder is instantly turned into a cardboard cutout. Plenty of monsters do that kind of weird stuff, you know? There are also specific things like these changeling monsters. These are ones that disguise themselves as humans and then turn into monsters later. There's an ability literally called Monster of the Week that they can only use once per scene, where they can turn into their monster form as a move action. So all of this stuff is so nicely baked into the system. They took the flavor of Power Rangers and they put it in so well. Because, like, again, it's like how you have to, like, call your Zord and your Zord shows up, but later. The monster can turn into its normal monster form and disguise form back and forth, but it takes a move action to do. Like, it's something that it's going to be doing in the fight because they took these Power Rangers tropes and they put them in the system, and that's super cool. Big compliment to this is that, again, I'm comparing a lot of this to the Marvel Multiverse RPG because that's the other video that I've done on this topic. One thing that the Marvel Multiverse RPG does that's fun is it likes to put in little Marvel references, but the Marvel references are very surface level. Yes, the D616 thing is mechanics, but it's kind of confusing mechanics. Whereas this system is a masterclass in taking the tropes and taking the vibes of the thing that it's based on and actually putting them into the mechanics well. I love Renegade games, man. I play so many Renegade games and they're very fun. And it's a classic thing where like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. People in board game communities might kind of know this question of, like, are board games and licensed games licensed just for the branding, or are the mechanics of the game relevant to the system, right? Think about a lot of, like, video games this can sometimes apply to, RPGs especially, but any game. You know, is this a game that could stand on its own and then someone slapped Power Rangers branding on it or slapped Marvel branding on it? Or is there, like, a reason that this game has the licensed branding that it does? And a game having licensing, like, just for fun is not necessarily a bad thing at all. But this game is so good at being a Power Rangers game. It is not a generic RPG with Power Rangers slapped onto it. They thought about how to integrate the tropes into the system, and they did a really damn good job. Anyway, I'll get this pineapple monster off your screens now. I probably shouldn't have left this ugly thing on there while I was doing my, like, slightly more serious spiel. Well, let's look at some other ones here. Palutacorn. Palutacorn is freaking great. That's what he looks like. I fought this guy in a game of Heroes of the Grid with Comic Drake a couple weeks ago. But yeah, like, the abilities that you can have, they have weak points. Again, hang-ups here. Palutacorn's strength resides in his horn. Any hit made against Palutacorn that is, exceeds its toughness by more than 10 is considered a direct hit to its horn, which takes away its ability to use its toxic winds. This is something that the Marvel Multiverse RPG is just so missing. It's so missing these things that make the enemies unique. But this is 100%. It has the stuff that makes the enemies unique. It has nice flavor in this. The lightning vision could just be lightning, but it talks about how exactly it's going to work. It's good. It's good. There's things that it can do as a move action. This is, of course, the grown stats that we're looking at here. The grown stats are different. They're upgraded. And it's nice, too, because it's just... This is actually a really cool thing. Another cool thing about the system. They so easily could have done a lazy cop-out and just been like, for the big monsters, multiply their stats by 2 or something like that. They could have done an easy cop-out and just had a page of, like, here's how you do rules for growing monsters, and that would have been fine. They went the extra mile. They went the extra mile and they did the calculations for you, which is just so nice on the DMs. It's so nice on the DMs. Rito Revolto, if you're a Power Rangers fan, you'll know who this guy is. Again, there are hang-ups for him. There are various attacks, lots of different options he can do. He has his passives. He has all his stats. There's a Slippery Shark. They're fun. Slippery Shark Grown, Snizzard, another very iconic Power Rangers monster. They're great. Let me see. Are there any other minions in this that I... Biting Flower. These are like minions that Snizzard summons, I believe. Terror Toad. Cool stuff. Now, let me scroll through the bestiary and the expansion, because I do believe that the expansion has more enemies in it. It is also worth noting that there is a dedicated monster manual coming out for this. It comes out in a couple months. It's called like Finster's Monstermatic Cookbook or something. And it is a dedicated monster manual. Yet another thing that the RPG is missing, but they put it... This is a real RPG. I think, and I'll say this again when I'm doing my recap, which is probably going to be soon because my throat is starting to hurt a little bit. My biggest compliment to this system is it's a real system, which sounds so cheesy, but it's like, it's not just, hey, let's make an RPG, but put some Power Rangers on. No, this is a real thing. Like, you can fully play this with the rules in the book. It is not just for the thematic vibes. It is a system that you can use and play a whole campaign around with the rules in the book, which is great. And yes, there are a lot more enemies in this. You've got Cogs, which are from... Cogs from In Space. They're the Machine Empire, but I'm stupid and don't remember what that's fighting. There are the enemies, the minions from SPD. There are just generic space pirates. There's also a bunch of course, other notable, unique enemies. There's a really good one in here. I'm trying to find it so I can show you guys the art. Where is he? It is also worth noting that in this, I don't believe that this is actually how they organized it in the new... Yeah, this is a new thing as for the expansion. Cogs are from Zeo. You're right. Sorry, I'm stupid. Ignore me. This is new, and I'm assuming that this is going to how it's going to be organized in the bestiary. Monsters are classified into minions, individuals, lieutenants, and is there a higher category? And villains. Yeah. So it's, minions, that there's a bunch of individual, like Monster of the Week types, second in commands, and villains. That's how they're categorized, so you can kind of do this easily. And this has, this book does not have as many iconic... It is kind of weird, I'll say that, it's weird that there's not Lord Zed in this, or Rita Repulsa, or anything like that. I believe they're probably in the adventure book that exists. But, Divatox is in this book. Ecliptor is in this book. Emperor Grum is in this. All the Machine Empire guys. There are very iconic Power Rangers villains. Heck, Dark Spectre is in this. Any Power Rangers fans know who this guy is. He's threat level 25. Dark Spectre's crazy. He's if you want to do the final boss. Let me find the villain that I was specifically looking to show you guys, though, because he's really funny. Oh, another one. If this is... I don't know how many people in this stream are big Power Rangers comics fans, but I'm going to be posting this on YouTube, so maybe someone will see it there. Kaya, the evil Omega Ranger, she has a stat block in here. It's cool. They put in cool stuff. Where is... Oh, another one from the comics. Dane is in here. If you like the comics, pick up this book. I promise you'll like. Here we go. Captain Mutiny. My favorite art in the entire book. Not Captain Mercury, Captain Mutiny. And he looks like this. And he's excellent. So excellent, I had to go to the big cam for him. Anyway, let me look through this running the game system thing and see if there's anything else I want to comment on. But I believe otherwise we're pretty much done here. This is all pretty simple stuff. And then it has an adventure in it. Yeah, that's the other thing. It has an adventure in it. How absolutely wild and revolutionary to have an adventure in the rulebook. That's crazy. The Marvel RPG doesn't have this. There is also a dedicated adventure path for this. I don't remember what it's called. Someone can look it up, but there is an adventure in the core book, and there's an adventure path that released in a separate book when this system released. It is wild to me that the Marvel RPG did not do this. It's crazy. But yeah, the amount of shade, yeah, because the Marvel RPG deserves shade for not releasing an adventure at the start. But yeah, this is actually a great segue into, I'm basically just going to restate a point that I did 10 minutes ago. I'm going to throw in my big cam, and then I'm basically done with this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, this is very much like a filler stream, but I'll talk about that in a second. Let me do my little recap of the system. So, I love this system. As I've said before, I admittedly have not played it myself yet. I very much hope to. I'm going to get some friends together to do it in person soon. If we have a D&Dorks break week at some point, I think we'll probably use this because I very much just want to. Adventures in Angel Grove. That's the adventure path, which, generic name, but that's fine. Anyway, as I said a few minutes ago, my biggest thing that I want to say about the Power Rangers RPG and the Essence 20 system, again, this is the same system that Transformers runs on, G.I. Joe runs on, I think also maybe My Little Pony. I think, you know what? I'm going to check. I'm going to pull up a character sheet for the My Little Pony system and see if it looks the same, because I think that's something that you guys are probably interested enough to find out. Renegade Games, My Little Pony character sheet. And now I'm going to get weird things in my search history, but screw it. If it has the same core stats, I'm calling it compatible. I'm not going to look into it in great detail, but ladies and gentlemen and others, those are the same core stats, baby. This is a very low-res character sheet, but yeah, that's the same character sheet. It's pink. It's pink, but it's there. So I can now officially confirm the Power Rangers RPG and G.I. Joe and Transformers and My Little Pony. You can run all these together if you want. And to that end, let me get back to my original point. This is just a real system. It's a real full system, which makes sense because they use it for other things. I'm actually really curious to see how the Transformers one runs. I have not read it, but I'm curious like what slight changes they have, because obviously there's got to be some change. It's not going to be like grid points and stuff for Transformers, but the core stats are the same. And as I said a second ago, the way that they blend in the Power Rangers flavor directly into the system is top of the line. You do not have to do these tropes. You can let the players do these tropes. Like, they could have done that, for sure. That's what the Marvel RPG does, is it lets the players do the tropes themselves for the most part. There's some things like Fastball Special. But this, it's so clear that the people who were writing this system are genuine fans of Power Rangers and good game designers. And it's something that you can do easily. Just pick up the book. That book has everything you need. It's got an adventure, it's got stats, and I know that's the bar. That's the bar. It's not like I really shouldn't be praising it for this. Though praising it for integrating the tropes, yes. Praising it for integrating the tropes for sure. Praising it for being a whole system in a book is that's the bar. But it's a bar that the Marvel Multiverse RPG did not clear. But hey, it's cool. It's a very cool system. I highly recommend it. I would love to use it at some point. And yeah, the dice might be a little complicated. But I think if you're the type of person to run a campaign of a Power Rangers tabletop RPG, you don't care about dice being complicated. I think that's a safe bet. So, I like the system a lot. Having not played it, I'm going to give it like a 9 out of 10. I really think it's good. I think the stats are good. I think the dice system is solid. I think the amount of things that they have is good for a system. The dedicated monster manual coming out is something I'm very excited to check out. But, on that note, I think that is all I have to say on this system. I know this was a shorter stream, but let me explain why. First off, this is usually when D&Dorks airs. This is usually when D&Dorks airs, but we had a break week, and I have a cold right now. I don't know if you can hear that in my voice, but my nose is really runny. I have a cold, so I just wanted to do something because I'm not like going to go out of the house or anything like that, so I recorded some TikToks, posted those, and then I did this. Next week, we resume D&Dorks. Next week, Outlaws of the Seven starts. Should I show my thing again? Most people who are here probably already saw. But as a little preview for Outlaws of the Seven, I did this as a beginning thing, but I'm going to show my official character art done by Panda Red. We went with a wanted poster style for this. So this is my character. His name is King Otaria the Risen. He is going to be incredibly fun to play. I am super excited about playing King Otaria. Again, that starts same time and place as this stream, but next week. It is going to last for 8 weeks. Then we're going to do some Halloween stuff in October. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but we have a lot more D&Dorks planned. Speaking of D&Dorks, you can watch the entire campaign that we've done for almost a year and a half that just wrapped up, and the Marvel Multiverse RPG one-shot that we just did last week on the D&Dorks YouTube channel. Links will be going through there in the chat. Also, yes, Amy pointed out that king is in quotes. King. As the player, king. Not king in quotes, king. I'm Ataria, I'm the king. If other people disagree with that, that's their problem. And I'll leave specifics on that little situation for next week, but you'll find out next week. As for VODs from my channel have not really changed, but they exist now. I have a VODs channel. Amy can also put the link to that in chat. That is where this stream is going to be going. It's going to be uploaded tomorrow. Yes, this is at the D&Dorks time slot. It is going up on my VODs channel. Check that VODs channel out. I have other stuff on there. That's where all my streams are going. I also have an analysis of the Marvel Multiverse RPG. The episode is on D&Dorks. The analysis is on my channel. So the episode on the D&Dorks, the analysis on mine. Go follow both. They're both good. And again, this is going to be up tomorrow. I believe the last announcement that I have to say is, sort of 1.5 announcements. Number one, streams next week are going to be moving up an hour. I'm going to be trying a new time. So they're going to be at 7 Central, not 8, with a TikTok pre-show at 6 Central. If you don't want to do the time zone conversion, it's literally just an hour earlier. Last sort of half announcement. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow or not. It really depends on how I'm feeling. I am feeling better than I did yesterday, but it depends. That's why I definitely wanted to do a stream today, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do one yesterday or not. I'm so mad that I got sick now, because I was really trying to be like, yeah, I'm going to be more professional about streaming, and then I got sick 3 days in. Oops! Oh well, nothing I can do about it. I'm glad I was able to get this one out, and the VOD will go out tomorrow, so regardless. But I will be streaming next Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Friday being D&Dorks, at 7 p.m. Central Time, not 8 p.m. Central Time. As I said, we're going to be trying that time out. I believe that is all that I have to say on this system, so thank you so much for watching. Come back for streams next week, maybe tomorrow, and for Outlaws of the Seven, our new D&D campaign, next Friday. And that, I think, is all I have to say. I am going to drink some water and take some Dayquil. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Have a great rest of your night.